Welcome back, everybody. Today is our second session of the day on the 2nd of September, 2023. I'm joined with Michael here on Skype, and we are on the very end, getting close to the very end of Bruce Lee. I believe it might be session 30, Michael says, but don't take that as a gospel truth, because sometimes things get jostled up a little bit and we're off a little bit on the numbers, but you get the idea, right? We're well into it, and we just discussed really big topics with Freemasonry, of course. Michael, welcome.
Yeah, hello Brett, thanks for hosting me. Yeah, I thought usually I would come up with 32 sessions in total, which would be very fitting because he officially died at the age of 32. But that's not going to make it. We need a little bit more. But we're close. We're closing in, we're closing in, we're closing in. And in the end, you can decide whom to believe, what to believe, how to see things your way. I'm just putting my finger to all the coincidences and all the facts that I was getting aware of. So this is the next session, which is about one color called orange.
East of orange, yes, Michael. Like east of Eden, only east of orange this time. Pouring out for William H. Depperman, who used to plaster New York City subway stations with conspiracy rants, calling himself, quote, Assassination Information Committee. Pictured here, Bruce Lee murdered by Hong Kong and worldwide film king, multinational capitalist banker Run Shaw.
Mm-hmm. Which would be then not Raymond Chow, but Run Shaw, the man with the Rolls Royce. Who was then the rival company, and Bruce Lee wanted to sign to them. So that is very interesting that he comes up with the next theory. If I have counted correctly, I think I got more than 25 theories now about the death of Bruce Lee. Can you imagine? My. So William H. Depperman talks about the strange death of Bruce Lee. I'm not going into this. I just needed that because I was aware of that it's coming from a strange newspaper called East of Orange. So that could also be misleading, so disinformation on purpose. Why? Perhaps that someone was done back in 1973 when Bruce Lee died in Hong Kong under distinctly mysterious circumstances. The first report of Lee's death said he succumbed to marijuana poisoning. This had to be the most laughable cover story ever invented. Later, the cause of death shifted to water on the brain, whatever that is. I decided some checking. I went to Aaron Banks' New York Karate Academy, etc., etc. Somebody said quite confidentially that Lee had died of the iron fist, so dim marked the touch of death. It goes on and on and on and on. And I think that if we do 100 sessions, we have 100 different accounts. But I think that is also not that important who killed him or what killed him in the end, but to see the agenda behind it. And therefore, I was quite amused. That is very seldomly happening in that script. Was totally amused by the name of that strange newspaper, whatever that is, East of Orange.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Oh, the name of the newspaper.
Yeah, it seems to be the name of a newspaper or what.
Oh, wow. So that's where you're getting the title. Okay.
Yeah, that's the title here, East of Orange. East Orange, Orange, NJ, Local News,
New
whatever.
Jersey, yeah.
New Jersey, yeah. Yeah, what else? East Orange. Bruce Lee was murdered by Hong Kong, Worldwide Film International, blah, 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 Run Shaw. Yeah, I see. Okay. So that could also be misleading disinformation, or maybe that man knows more than us. I do not know. Just looking into here. But I think that I did not find anything very interesting in it. Weeks later, as if a slow-working poison was pushing him through him, Lee's body functions began to ebb. Eventually, they stopped that. That was why Banks said the doctors could never successfully determine the cause of Lee's death. They sounded a little odd to me, but a quick check of dojo around the city indicated that almost to a man martial arts students believe in the great master theory of the death touch, iron fist. Surprisingly, it was the fact most students accepted by the master's finding. They believed they were unworthy of such great knowledge. I don't know, but I I do my own research, so I don't take any word for granted. The 14th Street. Okay. So orange means number 33 because it's a numerical value of 33. It's orange. We already know that because 27 sessions earlier we spoke about the Golden Gate Bridge. With the color is international orange. When the steel for the Golden Gate Bridge was fabricated by Bethlehem Steel, as its foundries in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, remember? Orange, east of Orange, the steel was coated with a red lead primer. As the bridge towers began to rise for the Golden Gate Bridge, consulting architect Ivan F. Morrow was commuting to the construction site from his home in the East Bay via ferry. He became inspired by the red lead color. Morrow undertook color studies which resulted in the specification of the unique Golden Gate Bridge or International Orange because it blended well with the nearby hills and contrasted with the oceans and sky. Yeah, and you believe it. Yeah? Maybe Mr. Irving F. Morrow was belonging to a special fraternity. The Golden Gate Bridge is painted Golden Gate Bridge International Orange, which was selected by consulting architect Irving F. Morrow. Yeah, so therefore they tell you that it's about this and about that. The famous San Francisco landmark looks even more enigmatic as the glow from the city illuminates the fog rolling down the river. What else? What kind of story they come up with? So it's international orange, yeah, okay? Orange has the numerical code of 33. Orange is a code in Freemasonry, used in Hollywood, the media and the music industry, because in Scottish Rite Freemasonry the 33 degree is the highest degree as it represents the pineal gland and rebirth through Luciferian sodomy, etc. Which is not absolutely correct, because I think that's also a resemblance to the Bible of the age of Jesus Christ, about 33. They want to be as gods. They want to worship God, and so the highest rank is 33. I don't think that is a coincidence there. In Egypt, the Khepri beetle carried the orange sun. Orange is the color of Scorpio. Death of the orange sun. During Halloween, orange melons were carved out. Let me remind you of session 3, Golden Gate, Dirty Harry. Not Ditty Harry. Not Nitty Gitty Harry, but Dirty Harry with the serial killer called Scorpio. Yeah. Injured Scorpio goes for help. Dirty Harry film locations, Golden Gate Park. Oh, it was the park then. Okay, I see. So it was the park then. Yeah, so we look for Scorpio. It's always the same. Scorpio beats up Harry. Film location, Dirty Harry, 1971. In San Francisco. So, Scorpio. Yeah, you see, that is another session of coincidences here. So, during Halloween, orange melons were carved out. Orange is the color of amber winter months ending in the color of the monarch butterfly. Sodomy to create a monarch slave through trauma-based mind control. The tradition of the Dutch, so Netherlands, House of Orange, the Irish Orange Order, which is of course a society since 1795 with a cross and a pentagram. The Orange Order flag of the Williamites and a St. George Cross. Yes, headquarters in Northern Ireland, which is officially Protestant. Therefore, the riots have been infamous for the Protestants in Belfast against the Roman Catholics and all this stuff. The Loyal Orange Institution, commonly known as the Orange Order, is an international Protestant fraternal order based in Northern Ireland and primarily associated with Ulster Protestants. Conservative and all the stuff. So orange means the Protestants against the Pope. Yeah.
Until you read the Jesuit oath.
Yeah.
Then you know they have a license to do that.
Yeah. The
part
Orange
of the
Order
plan.
celebrates the civil and religious privileges conferred on Protestants by William of Orange. William of Orange, the sovereign prince of Orange from the birth stadtholder of Holland, Zeeland, Utrecht, Guelders over Isse, so from the Netherlands. And Netherlands, they have, up to this very day, they have orange as their color in soccer, for example. Everybody knows, oh, the orange danger. Yeah, it's just a mockery of the Netherlands here, the orange danger. Oh, yeah, when these people are coming here, and oh, yeah. Sometimes the yellow danger because they're carrying yellow license plates. So they battled, so they can't be real Christians because they battled. They were suppressed. Yeah, but I think that maybe we'll go later in that if there is some time in that Protestantism. The base of the Orange Order is the promotion and propagation of biblical Protestantism and the principles of the Reformation. As such, the order only accepts those who confess a belief in the Protestant religion, but they don't tell you what the Protestantism is about, huh? As well as Catholics, non-creedal and non-Trinitarian Christians are also banned. These includes members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, Unitarians, and Quakers. Masonic influences. Two people who issued the warrants for the first lodges of the Orange Order along were Freemasons, and in the 19th century many Irish Republicans regarded the Orange Order as a front group established by Unionist Masons as a more violent and jingoist vehicle for the promotion of Unionism. Yeah, how can you be a Christian or how can you be a Protestant and a Freemason at the same time? And you see that even with that, you see that it has been fraught in the beginning, isn't it, Brett?
Well, what I was going to mention was that Freemasonry has always been considered the Protestant arm of the Jesuit order. You know, so it's kind of strange how it works, but basically Freemasonry on its face supposedly is trying to be against some other secret societies, and then other secret societies are against other secret societies. But as you go on up the ladder, they're all the same at the top. They're all the same. They're all Jesuit controlled.
Yeah, it's all the same. Yeah. So that's Orange. So I would highly suggest that San Francisco, the birthplace of Bruce Lee, also is a Protestant city like Dallas is. A Freemason city like Dallas is. Sorry, a Freemason city which Dallas
basically is. Protestantism is just another name for, Catholicism these days. It is. I mean, there's really not much difference at all anymore. Because that's all been done away with after Vatican Council II. That changed the whole landscape. Religiously, yeah. So look up the ecumenical movement and see where that stems from Vatican Council II. Yeah.
So we can agree on that Orange has a resemblance to fraternity, especially to those who have been founded by Netherlands as William of Dutch or William of the House of Orange. Yeah, and so you see that if he comes from the House of Orange, they just made that twist that they not only take the name of the House of Orange, so his origin, but also then the color of orange, and it goes further and further and further down the road. Don't trust anybody with a pentagram, by the way. Orange. Peter Gabriel in Live in Concert, Rock Palace 1978. Somewhere, when we did that research on Peter Gabriel and Genesis, it was years ago, I think 2019 or so, 2020 maybe. I always thought that was a ritual here when he was climbing up the ladder. Maybe it was Jacob's ladder, Freemasonry ladder, and then he was just being enlightened by a spotlight there. I said it has nothing to do with the song on the air, because he's not on the air, but he was in the air, more likely. And he was just, or the entire band was just approaching in these orange jackets like construction workers. Because you see that he's also got a construction kind of a glove here, but that's not my point. My point is that I have then read that he was just coming out of Ireland, and or Northern Ireland. That's just years ago, that research, and therefore I thought, oh, maybe he is affiliated with the House of Orange, because it seemed like a Freemason ritual in 1978 he did in a German series or German television show, Rock Palace. And he came just from North Ireland, so I thought it was very fitting. And then I also thought it was extremely fitting that he had also trouble, and that he was not knighted in the Great Britain, although he is very famous as being a former member of the band of Genesis. Although his father-in-law was a highly decorated Privy Council member to the Queen. He was secretary to the Queen or so. Maybe that collided with the official Catholic doctrine of his wife's parents. I don't know. Yeah, so maybe that was also a protesting against the Catholic. What else? I do not know. I don't think that he's a real he's not really Protestant in all his things that I have seen that he did with Genesis and he did alone. There is nothing about Jesus Christ but a mockery. He's clearly a Luciferian, but I found it really strange that he's coming from Northern Ireland and then climbing a ladder in an orange jacket.
I never knew that. He's from Northern Ireland?
He came from Northern Ireland. He came from a tour. He did a tour. He came from Northern Ireland.
Oh.
Yeah. And I thought maybe he was initiated there into Freemasonry, and therefore he was just wearing that jacket. Yeah.
I see.
Because we have talked about that 4 years ago or so. Show, and you don't have to see the full show. You only have to see the entrance. Yeah. You see here the ladder on the stage. I'll just enlarge it to you.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I've seen this before, yeah.
Yeah, and you have to have the announcement, and then you have just the Peter Gabriel band coming in with torches. And I said, oh, that is very strange. They're coming in with torches. You see that usually the band is backstage, yeah, and they can, of course, then lie to you and say, oh, yeah, we were late. We could not find it, and what else? Yeah, and the Peter Gabriel band is then joining the stage, which is enlightened in Rock Palace and in devilish light green, and that prominent ladder here. So that is not a coincidence that the ladder is standing here, but it stands on purpose. It's part of the deal. And then the Peter Gabriel band is coming in with these torches in their hands. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And all in this orange vest, and Peter Gabriel, yeah, you see they're coming to the stage with this as a light bearer, yeah, and Peter Gabriel is climbing up the ladder here and then being lighted by a spot. Yeah. Yeah, you see, wow, now the spot is coming in on the top and he's enlightened, yeah. And don't tell me that he's just inspecting something on a ladder here when the music starts to roll, and this is just a ritual, in my humble opinion. Therefore, I thought that maybe he was initiated. Tja. In former years, I was a big fan of Peter Gabriel. Then I saw his fruits. And quite recently, in 2023, in May 2023, in Germany, the Tagesspiegel, so the Daily Mirror, they thought, oh, we have avatars and color explosions. Peter Gabriel in Berlin. Yeah, Peter Gabriel is going to this stage. The co-workers are going in orange overalls. I said, oh no, not again. So he has a fable for orange. Yeah? Even in 2023, they are just arriving the stage in orange.
Wow.
Yeah. Like in Guantanamo. And so orange also is the color of these astronauts in the NASA, huh?
There you go.
No. Oh, Galileo. Yeah, you see, announces 4 astronauts who will travel around the moon in Artemis 2 in orange. And we know also that Buzz Aldrin, the officially second man to the moon, was a high-living Freemasons. And look to the session of American Rituals on Brett's channel. And also this Amnesty International with the flame and with the wire around it has been founded, and is founded by one of the Rothschilds. Or was it Rockefellers? Rockefellers, I think it was. I have to look it up. I'm just too lame to look it up now, but yeah. So everything, you can't escape it. You see, you have to free yourself with the Bible. You can't free yourself in any organization. Everything which is connected to materialism and money is ruled by Satan. Yeah. So every opposition as well. And there's more to it. There's even magic in the air. The magic, marvelous orange tree. I'm not kidding. This is an expert way of magic. Yeah, so sorcery or trick. This is an orange tree conjuring act. And luckily, this is on Wikipedia. No, this is not on Wikipedia. This is on YouTube. We have to do some interesting stuff here. So YouTube, orange tree trick. Let's look it up. Robert Houdini's marvelous orange trick. There you go. There you go. I apologize for the decent quality, but it's better than nothing. Yeah, so he picks not randomly a girl with a diamond on her fingers. And later on, you can watch him tell that, oh, it's a real diamond. Yes, it's a real diamond. And not the quote of Freddie Mercury who said, it's a present from the devil. But she has been introduced when coming from that famous diamond company called Cartier. So French. Yeah, and it is worth then $300,000.
Just like that was worth.
About £300,000?
Hi. This is no mere chance.
£300,000. Hi. And then she is able to assist him in his tricks. And I just do a little bit of fast forward here. She has to put that diamond in a handkerchief.
So you can see it. Now we do not have a wall safe for you,
it will be hidden in that tree, and
I'm going to place it into a jewelry casket, a compartment. Which is made
into
of
a
glass.
compartment.
We shall place it in the center.
In the
and
center.
We just do this. And now, while it's sitting there, I want you to look at this. This is a pistol. And this pistol will be fired by cocking it like so, and then it will be fired. Now, if I do that...
I just had to translate it because Brett cannot hear that sound, and therefore he has to know what's going on. So he has to, she has to fire.
Is some other piece of magical history. If I can just move this, I need to be behind it to do it properly.
And
this is a gavel. What to my bid, ladies and gentlemen, for this beautiful ring? Do I hear 2 shillings and sixpence?
Now this tree has been
the orange tree was
put
one of the
on the
great
stage.
mysteries of its day. All you have to do is you have to point the pistol yourself.
Point the pistol.
I'll just cock it for you, madam, like that. And you fire the gun.
And fire the gun.
Therefore, taking all blame for the £300,000.
And you take all the blame for the £300,000.
And shoot.
Pound. And you shoot. Peng.
For a small gun, it makes a loud noise. Now the tree. I want to tell you about the tree. Normally, it would now start to work. But I wanted to show you that this is clockwork, and it is. And all you do is you wind it up. It's a beautiful thing.
So you wind the tree up like a clock in the back.
Which was collected by John actually from Brazil and brought back.
It's from Brazil and blah blah blah, and of course it has a mechanism in it, so that's the trick.
And
slowly it unfolds itself with the
orange
beautiful.
Blossom appears there. Here is another one. Up here is another one. This mechanical marvel would create
thank you.
orange blossom.
Orange blossoms.
And then, as the audience watched in those days of old, the leaves would start to move, and oranges would appear on the orange tree.
Can you imagine if some fraternity would be glad to see that trick?
Made. Absolutely gorgeous.
Gorgeous,
and
yeah,
now,
absolutely gorgeous.
Possibly worth more than the ring.
Possibly
So, if you would
worth more
accept
than the
this,
ring. So
still a
in
quiver.
the end, you see they
For
will
those who
find the
think that
diamond in
perhaps
it and all
it
the
was
stuff.
all mechanical,
I
can
don't
I
want
just...
to waste the time, but it's a marvelous orange 3. The marvelous orange 3, and you don't know what it is connected to. Let me surprise you. Let me surprise you. The secret, of course, magic is nothing but a clever illusion in this world. The secret is an automaton, and that means that it's like a program sequence that then with the help of a mechanism, these oranges are just being pushed upwards, and that's it actually. Okay. Orange, by the way, is also the color of the sun. So the history of this Orange institution or Orange Order, a fraternity order in Northern Ireland, Orangemen still overlook the papal input to the creation of the icon William of Orange, which came from the Netherlands or Dutch. Orangemen had fought in numerous wars, including the War of 1812. That means they are soldiers or mercenaries. What else? Orangemen had helped to smuggle thousands of rifles from Imperial Germany in the World War I. 5 Orangemen have been awarded the Victoria Cross, which is a little bit of a contradiction, I think, Brett. Huh? You can't be an Orangeman and then receive a... what else? Numerous lodges have been formed by serving soldiers during various conflicts. British soldiers in Iraq wearing orange sashes and carrying a banner reading Rising Sons of Basra, etc., etc., etc. Orange means 33, so the highest rank of Freemasonry, is also a code of sodomy in movies. And 33 can be seen also as a numerical code as well as the numerical value of a letter. For example, the third letter C, then in combination with CC, like a concentration camp, would be 33. The first one was being established in Oranienburg, so Oranian Castle. Yeah, so you got Oranian means orange. That is Oranienburg. That is then Dutch. Yeah, so that is then Dutch language. The founding of Orange Juice Company Minute Maid, so M, if you would just tear it 90 degrees to the left, is also then 33, MM, like Marilyn Monroe, owned by Coca-Cola, CC, 33. Then there is an Orange Grove Boulevard in Pasadena. This is called the Millionaire's Mile, MM, 33. In Pasadena and South Pasadena, California, the fornication of Kali. They have a rose parade, like Rosicrucians, and this participants and floats line up before dawn on Orange Grove Boulevard facing north. Yeah, so there where Lucifer wants to go for the beginning of the parade. Yeah, this is the Rose Parade, presented nowadays by Honda. So you can guess that, maybe Honda is an admirers of Freemasonry, Rosicrucians. Who knows? Oh, there's no much to it. There is a Rose Bowl also. And these bowls, these stadiums actually, they've been seen as female, as a cup, receiving something. So if there is a ritual in it, these stadiums, they serve as a place of worship and as a female cup. Yeah. Pasadena Tournament of Roses. So roses and Rosicrucians everywhere, including Mr. Freemason, Albert Einstein, and the Salvation Army banned before a performance at the Rose Bowl Parade, 1926. Just a coincidence. Then, famous magician, the father of rocket science, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, John Jack Marvel Parsons, used music of Prokofiev in his Babylon workings, known for a love of 3 oranges, opus 33. So you have 33 in it, and you have oranges as a fruit, like in the marvelous orange fruit. The father of America's rocket science, Jack Parsons. His birth name is John Whiteside Marvel Parsons. Yeah. His birth name is John Whiteside Parsons, but it's not correct. That is not correct, Mr. Wikipedia. See, his birth name is Marvel Whiteside Parsons. It's not correct here what has been stated here on Wikipedia. Once again, they then tell you that his birth name is otherwise. So, in English they do it correctly. Marvel Whiteside Parsons. That's very interesting. So, this marvelous Orange Tree Conjuring Act, and there is a rocket scientist called Marvel Whiteside Parsons who's in Orange Grove Boulevard. Must be a coincidence then, huh? Gets better. 1950s, the Vietnam War uses Agent Orange by the war industry. And that's a pesticide. Yeah, this is to get rid of all the trees and branches, leaves and all the stuff to see the enemy. And that is Agent Orange because that resembles orange, which is also the color of fire. Fire is not red. Blood is the red is the color of blood. Orange is the color of fire. And then I came across that video here of Count Dante, The Unbelievable Life and Death, the early 60s, so when Bruce Lee arrived in the United States, when America was still racially and culturally divided. You see that all these Martin Luther King stuff, black societies, the Black Panthers were alleged origin of the Manson hate, Manson murders and all the stuff. These Asian people here on the street, they have just been protesting and said, no Vietnamese ever called me fat chink, and support our Asian sisters in Vietnam. And I told you once again that I thought that Hollywood thought that during the high time of the Vietnam War, it was not the right time to promote then a Chinese leading male actor. So therefore Bruce Lee had to wait. I think that is all the agenda behind it. So this is Agent Orange. That means that an agent can also be an agent from a secret service. So that they have sprayed much of that in Vietnam. It's very, very worse. But when the agents in United States, especially also in Hollywood, were just portrayed as servants, as a cook of Bonanza and Ponderosa and the Cartwrights and all the stuff, they went in and they just didn't want their Vietnam Asian sisters and brothers to suffer for the American imperialism, not knowing that Vietnam, why did we go? It was just a religious war against the Buddhist majority in Vietnam, led out by the Archbishop of New York, Cardinal Spellman, which also was one of the key factors behind the assassination of John F. Kennedy. And that is very fitting because in that video here from James Liu, remembering Bruce Lee, he said, you gotta remember, growing up in America as an Asian American, I had virtually no Asian heroes to grow up with, and so now, for the first time, I saw this man, Bruce Lee, who's a Chinese man kicking butt, and he was the hero. And in my humble opinion, that's also the reason why no one ever will take the place of Bruce Lee, because just he was the original one. He was the original role model for Asian male characters around the world. Yeah, James Liu said the impression of Bruce Lee once he came on the screen, do you saw the spirit inside? And this is just Orange and Vietnam. And you see that in Vietnam, they use Agent Orange. Kennedy in 1963, he was visiting the Orange Bowl game in Miami, Florida. 1963, 22nd of 11, so 22nd of November, it also adds up to 33. And I think that it's no coincidence that a band called the Dead Kennedys, they using oranges on their cover. And a skeleton or a skull. Dead President, liquid. With oranges. So I think they are resembling the Freemason ritual behind Kennedy. 1960s. Hippie CIA agents Nicholas Sands and Tim Scully from Orange County make Orange Sunshine LSD for mind control of the Manson family of Charles Manson. ALD 52 Wikipedia, the Orange Sunshine variety of LSD that was widely available in California through 68 and 69 through the high time of the Manson murders. Sharon Tate was produced in the Sonoma Country underground chemistry lab of Tim Scully and Nicholas Sands. Chemical formula, Orange Sunshine LSD, inventor Tim Scully interview. So, and that is, of course, a CIA project, as everything in the United States and California happened in the late 60s was. Late 60s, once again, David Bowie, orange hair in A Space Oddity, which is a resemblance of course, Stanley Kubrick's A Space Odyssey, 1968. 1971, Stanley Kubrick, A Clockwork Orange. Malcolm McDowell, MM33. McDowell, Scottish, maybe something of resemblance, a reference to Freemasonry. Married to Mary Steenburgen. Stanley Kubrick, A Clockwork Orange, with Malcolm McDowell, MM33, married to Mary Steenburgen from the Dutch House of Orange. Oh, so much coincidences, no? So, A Clockwork Orange with a pyramid. One eye, etc.
By the way, speaking of A Clockwork Orange, Michael.
Yeah, one of the miserable movies I've ever seen. Oh, I really hate that movie.
Tell me, Michael, when you saw that movie the first time, what were the circumstances? Were you by yourself?
I was just curious about the works of Stanley Kubrick, actually, and I was fascinated by that car they drove because it was a prototype, and I just saw the intro sequence, and then I saw the violence of it, and I thought that was a perverse movie.
Yeah, right. Well, my brother decided he wanted to watch the movie. I was about, I don't know, 10 or 12 or something like that. And
way too young.
Yeah. So he brings that trash in our house, and our neighbors come over, and they're watching it, and I just couldn't stand it. It didn't take long, but what's interesting is this book is mentioned in that book, All Roads Leads to Rome by Michael de Semlyen. And it was intentionally, this movie was an intentional movie to see how far they could push the agenda, normalizing all this stuff. A very perverse movie, yeah.
It was the beginning of a new decade in 71, you see. Summer of Love was over, and therefore they have to concentrate then on these, like David Bowie, like this transgender thing and all the stuff, this normalizing and more drugs and music change. The Beatles, they were dissolving in 70 and all the stuff. So it was just a new era, and yeah, sure. But I really hate that movie. Wow.
Yeah, me too.
Oranges, 1972, in the Godfather trilogy before every murder. So, the Godfather or the Mafia has something to do with Freemasonry. We know that from God's banker, Roberto Calvi, being dangling around with the orange rope like a hangman from the Blackfriars Bridge in London. And he was a member of the Freemason Lodge P2, Propaganda Due. Yeah, so the Protestant propaganda or Protestant lodge, fraternity lodge in Rome or Italy. It must be a coincidence, of course. Orange. The use of symbolism in movies is often construed for various reasons, either for foreshadowing or subconsciously planting a specific emotion into the audience's minds. One of the most famously used symbolism is that of the orange fruit, best known as the harbinger of doom. In the classic Francis Ford Coppola crime epic The Godfather, oranges in films have since become synonymous with tragedy. But why choose oranges specifically, though? One theory is that oranges used to critique capitalism. Sure, that's exoteric here. This is all BS. Historically, California was a thriving citrus industry, and fruits are often shown coincidences with advertisements of Los Angeles showing a city of angels as a modern-day Garden of Eden. All this may be all a coincidence, or that just it's all disinformation. It is no accident. It is no accident. It is only a coincidence.
Right.
Sure. Movies that use the symbolism of oranges to foreshadow death. Children of Men, American Beauty, Requiem for a Death, Point Break. Of course, it's only a homage to The Godfather. So, sure, it's not a coincidence. And, oh, interesting, The Ninth Gate from Roman Polanski. Oh, must be a coincidence then. Supernatural thriller is about a book expert hunting down the rare 9 gates of the Kingdom of Shadowstone, like the Book of the Dead and all the like, which is said to have been written by the devil. I had to watch a short clip of that movie. They say, and danger will... you see that sign of the bow and arrow of the archer, and say, and danger will descend on you from above. Interesting. Lucifer reproducing Earth. Oh, very interesting what they all tell you. This is Roman Polanski, or Mr. Raymond Liebling. Yeah, but he prefers to be called Roman Polanski. Lucifer reproducing Earth. That's a movie of him. That's a movie of him. Yeah, and that is the book which is all about. It's been officially been written by the devil, and this is somebody who was just talking about this book. The book expert played by Johnny Depp is thrust into a web of conspiracy and the occult as he slowly becomes more obsessed with the demonic book. Sure. On the page 666, I think that all pages have the number 666 in that book. At least I know that all the pages in the book have been the same words here printed. So it's... they are just mocking you. Arcani umbrarum regni. So that is the secret, arcana, secret. Umbrarum, shadow. You know, umbra, yeah, umbrella. The Umbrella Man, John F. Kennedy ritual. Regni is I-N-R-I, so it's the Rex, it's the king. Yeah, so the secret of the Shadow King. I hate Latin, but this is just Arcani umbrarum regni. Yeah, something like this. Yeah, and of course they just think that it's just a movie. And in that movie the book has been burned with that satanic pentagram on it. It is, somebody on the internet says, a clear nod to The Godfather. There's a scene where Corso is escaping a burning apartment and knocking over a bag of groceries, which contains a pack of oranges. And here is my screenshot for you. But, of course, it's just a reference to Godfather. It had nothing to do with Freemasonry. Mr. Polanski, who has been shown in Freemason posters, he's been shown with Freemason pictures in the Fearless Vampire Hunters, which we talked about in our last session. But orange must be just a coincidence then, huh? Especially when arsenic, as used as a poison, also has the atomic number of 33. Remember? Somebody in a movie said they use an expert way to kill him. Speaking of Bruce Lee, if you think that he was killed, maybe he just slept and never awoke again. Nobody knows. An expert way of killing. Like a way of a secret society. Which happened on the 11th of October. In the case of the German politician Uwe Bachscher. It was the 11th of October. Oh, it's a coincidence. You see, the chances are 1 to 31 that it is just the 11th of October and not the 10th or the 12th or what else. Yeah, an expert way of killing which you don't see in a black and white picture in a bathtub. Sure, if you want to commit suicide, you just jump in the bath with your clothes on. It's the same thing as Bruce Lee. We are still not through with Bruce Lee. So many things are happening all over the place. For example, in Switzerland, where there also are Freemasons in it, heavily involved, as we can clearly see. And there's more to it. 1979, Supertramp, Breakfast in America, Twin Towers, glass of orange juice. Where do they got their inspiration? I always thought that Supertramp was a reference to Satan. Because he says in the book of Job,
let's see, you are on chapter 1, verses 6 and 7. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it.
and I would say that's quite fitting for a Supertramp.
Mm-hmm.
So when an orange waitress is serving an orange juice in front of the World Trade Center, and we know that everything...
The Twin Towers, yeah.
Yeah, the Twin Towers,
Twin
yeah.
Towers.
Yeah, but everything that happens in ritual in America has to be with Freemason. And we know the Freemasons did it on the 11th of September. Ah, come on, there are so many things we have already been talked about. But what a coincidence, huh? As if somebody knew before. Because that album is from 79, that's when the Twin Towers, they were just erected in the beginning of the 70s. So, Cross Creek, Mary Steenburgen living in Orange Grove, Reservoir Dogs, somebody dies at Mr. Orange, River Phoenix dies at Halloween in Club of Johnny Depp with orange hair, Mad Hatter, Diana Spencer, so Lady Di, 33 years old, a Naked Gun, 33 and a half. Pulp, Orange Juice, John Travolta back from Amsterdam, Dutch House of Orange. In South Park, Orange Kenny dies every episode. 2004, Orange Revolution in Ukraine on the 22nd of November, which is the same date as John Kennedy died. Most likely, Mitch 33 and Orange Revolution. Orange 33. Every time the same. Halloween, Orange. Huh? Michael Myers, MM 33. It's always the same. Malcolm McDowell, Chuck, CC. 33, 33 degrees of Freemasonry, Chuck, 3. Ah, yeah. Don't see any coincidence in it, huh? Gay agenda on Channel Orange, Orange, of course. Olympic Phoenix ritual with James Holmes, orange hair, orange is the new black. ISIS ritual where Jihadi John decapitates men in orange. Orange. And 3, at least 3, and here 33 on the license plate on the back of the Mercedes-Benz. You see also 33, that is in a combination here with the Japanese Yakuza, Japanese Mafia. But it's also a coincidence. 33 or 333 is all Yakuza in the 19th. Because their dragon has 3 claws. The Japanese dragon is quite different. Yeah. Now comes the big one. You know Bruce Lee. And Bruce Lee had this Concord production. A production company founded in 1972 by Bruce Lee and Raymond Chow. Each hold 50%. After Lee's death, Linda Lee Catwell, his wife, sold his portions to Chow in 1976. Concord went defunct in 1976. Raymond Chow went on to continue running Golden Harvest. The company of Raymond Chow, the former business affiliate of Mr. Bruce Lee, is called Golden Harvest. And the sub-company he had together with Bruce Lee is called Concorde, for the Roman goddess. And not for the plane. So it's a Roman goddess once again. So this yin and yang symbol. You think, okay, what does that have to do with the title of that session? Well, he did Enter the Dragon 1973 together with Warner Brothers. Jack Warner is Freemason 33 degree. So he did business with Freemasons in 1973. His last finished movie known to us. And 3 months later, more or less, he died. But it gets more interesting. Look at this. Golden Harvest had a big international success with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trilogy. Golden Harvest was listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange in 1994. Golden Harvest activity has declined since the death of Leonard Ho, which was the man together with, rarely spoken of, which is very friendly in terms with Jackie Chan, by the way, very affiliation with Raymond Chow in 1998. Leonard Ho deceased, so he died. In 2003, they withdrew from filmmaking and la 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 la. In 2004, Li Ka-shing and EMI became shareholders of the company. In 2007, Raymond Chow sold the company to Chinese businessman Wu Qibo, who owns the China-based, that's no typo here, Orange Sky Entertainment Group. But that must be a coincidence. So Golden Harvest merged with Orange Sky and was renamed Orange Sky Golden Harvest. And it was not 33 but 36 years after the death of Bruce Lee. That would be too much coincidences then. So it's now Orange Sky Golden Harvest. Where to start? Yeah, Golden Harvest would be nothing. Wouldn't they had Bruce Lee? Yeah, Bruce Lee made then a worldwide hit, entering the American market or the international distribution market with Warner Brothers, with Freemasons and Concord Productions including. Incorporation, sorry. One of the guys is Louis Sid. He left Golden Harvest and migrated to Canada. And there are many, many, many other peoples behind the scene, like Leonard Ho and Louis Sid, who have more insider knowledge of all the things there went and the businesses they were made then. Entrance to Grand Ocean Cinema at Harbor City. So that is Premier League. The company has recently acquired Warner Village in Taiwan. What a coincidence, and very fitting when your name is then Orange Sky Golden Harvest, huh? That you acquire Warner Village, because Orange, Warner Brothers, Freemason, Orange. But it must be a coincidence then, I think. Sheer coincidence. I can only think of coincidence because no one could be so mean to not tell us right in the open what they are up to. Yeah, so 33. Gmail. Freemasons. Gmail, Freemasons. Brother Jack Warner, Warner Brothers. Goes on and on. Orange Sky, Golden Harvest, Entertainment. Of course, if you, Jen, think of it, that's just the consequence of it. If you then just make business with Freemasons in 1973 already, with Warner Brothers, then later on, 30 years later, it is just a coincidence that some other party, just the name of Orange Sky, is then also then buying Warner Brothers stuff and cinemas. Sure. Birds of a feather flock together. It's Tower 18, huh? So that you know. Yeah. And that company, that co-founder of Golden Harvest, Leonard Ho, which we haven't spoken of, is a founder of Golden Harvest, and he was the assistant director of propaganda of Shaw Brothers before. The man with the Rolls Royce, you see? There is more to it. And there's really more to it. Can you remember in the United States of America, Saturday Night Fever 1977, directed by John Badham, and that introduced to the main public the disco trend with a so-called unknown actor, which was been known by the series Welcome Back, Kotter. The name of him is John Joseph Travolta, an American actor, starring in the horror movie called Carrie 1976 and Saturday Night Fever 77 and Grease 78. And Pulp Fiction, yeah, with orange juice. And you start in Saturday Night Fever. Look at the poster in the background on the left. I'd say this is a movie that you have seen, Brett.
Oh, yeah, Bruce Lee.
Yeah, Enter the Dragon.
Sure. Oh, yeah, Enter the Dragon.
Yeah. which is very strange because in that movie he has a brother which has quitted as a priest. Therefore you see him in one scene that he's putting on his coat. And he has something to do with religion, John Travolta. I don't know if you know that. Travolta joined the Church of Scientology in 1975. He converted after giving the book Dianetics while filming The Devil's Reign in Durango in Mexico. That is quite fitting, huh? Dianetics, Devil's Reign, Scientology. And he has some planes, Boeing 707. So, John Joseph Travolta, the man with one eye, is a member of Scientology cult of Ron Hubbard, who performed the Babylon workings with John, Jack, or let me say, Marvel Whiteside Parsons. Remember from Orange Grove? The marvelous orange tree? His first movie was The Devil's Reign with Anton LaVey, Church of Satan, who played the devil who raped Rosemary's Baby. I'm not convinced of that quote. He was married to Scientology actress Kelly Preston. Yeah, birds of a feather flock together. He danced with Diana, Lady D, at the White House party of Ronald Reagan in 1985. And so that John Travolta is in a church of Scientology, which was founded by Ron Hubbard, which was the partner of John Whiteside Parsons, Marvel Parsons, who did the Babylon workings, the invocations of Babylon, Satanic cult, follower of Aleister Crowley, American branch of Aleister Crowley, OTO, blah, 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 etc., etc. And of course, the backbone of NASA's rocket program, as not many people know that NASA has been founded on occultism. Yeah. The scene imitated, what is that? Is it Saturday Night Fever? I don't know, so I spare that out. So he started in The Devil's Reign with Anton LaVey, and then in 1975-76 he started at the Church of Scientology, and then his career went rockets sky high. Carrie, Saturday Night Fever, Grease, Staying Alive. Come on. He was in a correct circle, so therefore his career started. He starred in 1997, She's So Lovely, Before Death, Diana, script of John Cassavetes of Rosemary's Baby. John Cassavetes, GC, like Jesus Christ, was a mind control actor-director used in the Hollywood movie industry to announce the birth of Antichrist William V and Roman Polanski's Rosemary's Baby, like the Rosicrucians. He played the archetype of Jack Parsons, you see, Marvel, Whiteside Parsons. He acted in The Killers with Night of Malta, Ronald Reagan, who played the role of US President and who allegedly said to the Pope, Holy Father, I give you my country. His wife was Gina Catherine Rowland, and she was a Kappa, Alpha, or Fleur-de-Lis and key symbol, so Freemasons. So welcome to Orange. Now it's getting into full swing, I hope. Because now we are speaking about Warner Brothers Incorporated with Concord Productions Incorporated, a production that means a Freemason company from the United States, together with the Hong Kong company of Raymond Chow and Bruce Lee production. So definitely Bruce Lee had business affiliations with one of the biggest Freemason companies around, at least in the United States, Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is a Hollywood film studio founded in 1923 by Jewish Masons, the Polish Warner Brothers, Harry, Albert, Sam, and Jack Warner, members of Zionist fraternity Zeta Beta Tau. Affiliated with Time Inc. of Night of Malta, Henry Lucci, AOL, and Warner Music Groups that controls the music industry like the Haight-Ashbury Act, the Grateful Dead, Jimi Hendrix, Night of Malta, Miles Davis. Jimi Hendrix. There was something with Enter the Dragon in our Jimi Hendrix Bruce Lee episode, wasn't it? The poster of Jimi Hendrix on the wall behind Jim Kelly, the black actor then. And the same guy did the autopsy, Mr. Donald Tier, in the case of Jimi Hendrix and Bruce Lee. What a coincidence. And he's coming from Scotland Yard. Oh, Scottish, right. Freemasons, maybe. Warner Brothers. Interesting, huh? So both Jimi Hendrix and Bruce Lee had something to do with Both Bruce Lee and Jimi Hendrix had something to do with Warner Brothers, who are Freemasons, and their autopsy has been done by the Scottish Yard St. Donald Tier. Scotland Yard. Scottish. Interesting. Founded by Goldman Sachs. (1938) collaboration with Knight of Malta Ronald Reagan. 1941, the Maltese Falcon, Humphrey Bogart. The Maltese Falcon. Yeah, so the Sovereign Military Order of Malta, the Maltese Falcon. 1942, Casablanca, Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman, few weeks after the US invasion of North Africa. That looks and sounds like propaganda, I'd say.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
1943, Mission to Moscow, MM-33, propaganda of Office for War Information to glorify Winston Churchill and Joseph Stalin, who was a Freemason.
You know, I gotta say this. My dad was an artist at the newspaper, right?
Mm-hmm.
He knew a lot of characters. One of his friends was named Ted Maltese.
Oh.
And my dad would joke about him and call him the Maltese Falcon. I'm not kidding. So obviously my dad watched that movie. He knew. He probably knew a lot more about this stuff than he ever really, said anything, of course.
I have to admit that I really like that movie. It's very good directed, and I liked Humphrey Bogart a lot when I was younger. And I really liked that movie. It was really a cool movie for that time.
I've never even seen it. I never even knew it was a movie, actually.
Yeah, it's really a cool movie. It's about a statue made out of gold, and everybody is behind that statue. The golden calf. Yeah, you see the mammon.
Almost looks like the man on the cover there. Almost looks like Christopher Lee in a way.
Yeah, that's Humphrey Bogart, 1942.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that is propaganda, of course. So that means that, oh yeah, Maltese Falcon, Maltese, there's something precious, yeah, of Sovereign Military Order of Malta. Yeah, Warner Brothers, they did much propaganda for the Office of War. For example, this is the army with Ronald Reagan. So he got his reward about 40 years later. He could play then the role of the United States president. Once again, Big Sleep, Humphrey Bogart. Under Capricorn with Jesuit Alfred Hitchcock. Oh, so many things. A Streetcar Named Desire, Marlon Brando, the role model for James Dean. CIA mind control projects Bluebird provide actors programmed with multiple personality disorder, so it has all been affiliated with Warner Brothers. Star is Born, Judy Garland, Wizard of Oz, main lead, female lead. Screenplay by Dorothy Parker Rothschild. Dial M for Murder, MM33, Alfred Hitchcock, Grace Kelly, who been killed in a car accident, and I don't think that was an accident. East of Eden, produced. So that means James Dean also had the affiliation short before his death with Warner Brothers. Yeah, Giant, that was the last movie that published in 56 but been made in 55 with Dennis Hopper, who has also been affiliated with Laurel Canyon. There are so many. It's all over again. It's a big web. You see, it's a worldwide web. Warner Brothers buys Frank Sinatra's Reprise records, so you know that they also been in line with the Knights of Malta then. Warner released debut album of CIA band Grateful Dead, so they are in with ties with the CIA because the CIA has founded and supplied Grateful Dead with drugs. Doreen Tracy.
Yeah, free drugs for the entire crowd.
For the purpose of the agenda of free love, yeah.
Oh, gee.
What do you think?
No wonder they were so popular.
They can give it for free because you see that the usual tax slave that pays for it. Doris Tracy, Frank Zappa's publicist at Warner Brothers Records, was trained as a musketeer of the Mickey Mouse Club. Yeah, MM. Ted Ashley, the founder of Ashley Famous Talent Agency, is chairman until 1980. That's the guy who was in touch with Bruce Lee. Or one of the guys, Ted Ashley. 1970, Fred Weintraub, also affiliated with Bruce Lee, owner of the Bitter End in the Greenwich Village folk scene, becomes executive vice president of Warner. Laurel Canyon director David Campbell, affiliated with Kenneth Anger's Lucifer Rising. You see, sorry, this is just a small circle of a few people, but these people are so influential and they dictate everything. Yeah, son of Laurel Canyon director Donald Campbell, son of Charles Campbell, biographer of Aleister Crowley. You see, it's everywhere. Woodstock movie, CIA propaganda about the hippie movement of the Woodstock Festival. Yeah, sure. You see that when they have some health issues there, they were flying in army doctors, if I remember correctly, or some stuff with the army helicopters. So you know that the army is involved in that. It's an army project. Yeah, so Woodstock is an army project. A Jesuit project as well, but an army project. Woodstock. Woodstock means the change in human consciousness which transcended mankind, because the original item or theme of Woodstock was entitled an Aquarian Exposition. Hence the musical Hair, which is about the same time period they promoted the Age of Aquarius in a song. It's all an agenda. People don't get it, and we haven't got it either. You see that I'm now way more than 50 years old, and now I'm close to see all the coincidences here. Yeah? The flower children, like many Americans, young and old, recognized the suffering and the unjustness of the old system, so naturally rebelled with messages of peace and love. Yeah, there is no peace for the wicked, said the Lord in Isaiah. Which were symbolized with flowers, yes, and these strange peace symbols who are looking like a broken cross. And it's all an agenda. It's to rebel against God, to rebel against the establishment, to rebel against your parents. It's all an agenda. It's been on purpose. And if you don't rebel enough, yeah, you get loud music, you get drugs. The outdoor music concert held in Bethel, New York in '69 was indeed a result of the coming of Aquarius. Woodstock was a festival with much more significance than what is regularly thought. Sure.
Oh, by the way, there's a town. Isn't there a town in New York State called Woodstock, New York? Isn't that where they got that from? I think there is.
I think there is. There was a university or something from the Jesuits in Woodstock. Yes, there is a town in Woodstock, a town in New York called Woodstock, yeah.
Right. So, wait, you remember now, New York took its name after the York Rite of Freemasonry.
Mm-hmm.
So this is proof. This has all been planned.
Mm-hmm.
It's Satan's plan, obviously, but we don't see it as that way that easily until we come across the Bible and we start reading the Bible and we start, or Michael, you have experiences, life experiences that few people have. And so have I. I mean, this is the thing. You kind of put two and two together and then you can see it. Oh, yeah, wow. Woodstock College. Yes, Woodstock College was a Jesuit seminary that existed from 1869 to 1974.
Yeah, 1974. Then it was finished. You see? 1969, wow. 1974 in Maryland.
Right.
So it can have both meanings. Yeah, from the fraternity or from the Scottish Rite, York, and also here from the Jesuit seminary. Can have both relationships. It was survived by the Woodstock Theological Center, an independent non-profit Catholic research institute located at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. And if I remember correctly, this is just run by one person. Well, it's long ago that I did that research, but I think that was only just one person, so it is just a front organization for other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
See? All coincidences here. The Age of Aquarius. This is just hilarious astrological stuff that we are now coming from the age of the fish, of Pisces, from the age of Aquarius. Era de Aquario.
Gnostic philosophers, Samuel and Unwear. I don't know how to spell underwear. Declared February 4, 1962, the beginning of the quote-unquote Age of Aquarius, heralded by the alignment of the first 6 planets, the sun, the moon, and the constellation Aquarius.
That means a conjunction, in I think it is in English.
Yeah. It's all BS, isn't it?
Sure.
Key word in this entire sentence is Gnostic.
Yeah, but you see that is here an Aquarian exposition. Yeah, so it has something to do with this esoteric stuff. Yeah, because that is the agenda behind Woodstock. Is an Aquarian exposition, so it serves an agenda. An Aquarian
Apollo
exposition.
11. Oh, gee.
Yeah, it's like here in the moon landing, Apollo 11 for the Freemasonry. You see with their eagle symbol. Humans
the
landed
Roman eagle, yeah.
Yeah, humans landed and walked on the celestial body other than Earth for the first time, which is a blatant lie.
Right.
And there are no fact checkers
Witchcraft.
here. Yeah.
Witchcraft. That's the thing, all of us have to come to recognize is that we've suffered through a lot of lies in our life. If we could only see the truth for what it really is, it'd be a different world, wouldn't it, Michael?
Yeah, you see, I have a hard time. I love arguing about it, but you have to bear in mind that there is so much information in that in these 190 pages that I always have a stressful time to think about so many connections between it. And I just wanted to draw the connections between this Age of Aquarius and then the place where the eagle landed on the moon, which never did, Tranquility Base. Yeah, so to set their minds also in a certain state of, this is possible and the Bible is incorrect and there is a moon and we can be like gods, we can visit other planets and all the stuff, which happened on July the 20th, which is the same day, the official day that Bruce Lee died. Apollo 11, Genesis 11, the builders of the Tower of Babel. We want to build a city that can reach the sky. Yeah, or we just want to buy or you just want to construct a rocket which can take us to the moon. We want to be like gods. With Buzz Aldrin, Edward Aldrin, who punches then the denier in the punches somebody in the face who wants to swear him on the Bible, which both is futile because it is not allowed, but nevertheless, come on, you see that is just a BS, everywhere BS. I think that people who are not known to your channel will shake their hands in disbelief and they will just leave the channel and say that what are these lunatics talking about? And we are no lunatics because we do not believe in Luna, the moon. Yeah, so I don't believe also in the dark side of the moon, which is another deception by Pink Floyd, 1974. Yeah, there is no dark side of the moon, in my humble opinion, because the moon and the sun have been created for the earth to shine on. I avoid the phrase to illuminate. So what's the purpose of creating a globular object? Because it is just meant for the earth. I don't see the point into believing a three-dimensional moon, by the way. So, 1972, as we saw Stanley Kubrick's Clockwork Orange, 1703, The Exorcist, all movies here, Exorcist with a script from happening here in Georgetown, USA, the home city of the Jesuits, and the script from the Jesuits, William Blatty, I think the name. Peter Blatty. So sorry. Peter Blatty. Yeah. Jesuits. Yeah. Ted Ashley, in affiliation with Bruce Lee, in electronic training of Werner Erhard program and all the stuff. It goes on and on. Warner Brothers also produced frantic Roman Polanski. The world is so small. Opening of Warner Brothers theme park in Australia with Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood being a Jesuit, by the way. Formerly times I have read that he visited regularly a fraternity. I can't remember where. Oh, maybe he's both. Malcolm X. These are all Warner Brother movies. Jesuit Don Murphy produced Natural Born Killers, which could be also an alternative title of the Jesuits, Brad.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Line of Cain, yeah. So Line of Cain,
Sure.
maybe, yeah. Line of Cain as the first killer. I was
How
remembered this
fitting,
morning.
natural, the word natural, because if you look up that verse in the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
the natural man knows not the things of God. No.
I was
It's only
remembered.
natural.
Yeah, I was remembered today. I thought, oh, why in the Bible you see that in verse 4 where the curse of Cain is, where God cursed Cain and
It's
Cain,
like the word traditional, like when you follow traditions, right?
Mhm.
You're following the tradition of the church, whatever church you belong to, You're not listening to what's said in Scripture when it says, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and tradition.
Mhm.
Tradition's a deceiver.
I was just reminded this morning when I was outside and I thought, okay, that's Genesis 4 when Cain had to leave Eden and he went east of Eden and he found a wife
Yes.
and he had children. I think the first one was Enoch or so.
Yes.
Remember, that means that he found a daughter of Adam and Eve. Of course, there's no other possibility if you believe the Bible. Yeah, and she married a killer. She married a murderer.
Sure.
Oh, She married.
Well,
She
that's the
married.
thing, Michael. What is a mercenary?
Yeah,
A
somebody who
mercenary
kills
is
for.
a murderer
Yeah, sure. He
for
kills.
hire.
Yeah, for hire. Yeah. But
for mammon.
imagine what that means. That in Genesis 4:2, that actually means that she married the murderer of her own brother. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod in the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. That means that some of the daughters of Adam and Eve married Cain, who was the murderer of her own brother.
Sure.
Brrr. I find this is the real horror to me. Oh yeah, but he's so good looking. Or what?
Of course.
My. What a world. So, back to the things. Mission to Moscow, Police Academy, MM33, 1995, Outbreak, something to do with the virus. Warner Brothers, Freemason in it. Conspiracy Theory, Mel Gibson, Warner Brothers, Matrix, Eyes Wide Shut. Matrix with the wrong color symbolism. Oh, there is so much things. Transhumanist Agenda. Lord of the Rings, which is a Jesuit script.
Sure.
Harry Potter movies promoting sorcery and
right.
witchcraft.
Yeah.
It goes on and on and on. On and on and on. Batman trilogy. Writer Jesuit Jonathan Nolan. Production designer Nathan Crowley, descendant of Aleister Crowley. I don't know if that is correct. V for Vendetta, based on a Jesuit plot. You see, announces the COVID-19 ritual. You see, not the Babington plot, the Gunpowder plot, V for Vendetta, this Guy Fawkes character, yeah. Sherlock Holmes, The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, right. Gunpowder plot.
Yeah. The Dark Knight Rises here, Batman. Everything gets more darker. Now it's a Dark Knight. Yeah. Jesuit John Stanky leads Warner Media, 2015. Warner Media is bought by Texas-based AT&T. Jesuit son of his mate CEO. So you see, the Jesuits, they rule this Freemasonry stuff when you see what happened here with the Warner Brothers. Matrix Resurrection. Now we're coming back finally to Bruce Lee. This is a scene of Enter the Dragon. Just in the beginning, where Lee, as a Shaolin monk or Shaolin fighter, whosoever, is being handed instructions by his supreme official. It's interesting because this is the transcript from the original script, or most original script. I have compared it and it fits so far. The priest tells Mr. Lee, Bruce Lee as Mr. Lee, the enemy has only images and illusions behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image and we will break the enemy. The Bible tells us in the second commandment that we shall have no images. Yeah, and very interesting. And this is just the conversation between the priest and and Mr. Lee, who is in this function here as the servant and is the receiver of the orders coming from the head of the monastery or whatever that is. Now please read this. Easily misused by the it that you refer to is a powerful weapon, easily misused by the martial artist who deserts his vows. For centuries now, the code of the Shaolin Temple has been reserved. Remember, the honor of our brotherhood has been held true. Remember, that is a movie with Warner Brothers, who are Freemasons Brotherhood. And it's more interesting when you know that I have seen some letters from Bruce Lee signed with Peace and Brotherhood. I said, okay, that's great. Maybe I find some. If I find some, I will insert it here. So, then Bruce Lee has now been questioned. Tell me now the Shaolin commandment number 13. And Brett has seen that movie.
Yeah.
The Shaolin commandment number 13. 13 being the number of Osiris, the veneration of the god of the underworld in Egyptian mythology, and therefore also a significant number in, of course, Freemasonry. The answer from Bruce Lee in that movie, Enter the Dragon, the last movie, few months before his death, is, quote unquote, a martial artist has to take responsibility for himself and accept the consequences of his own doing. Ta-ta-ta-ta. And now I would ask you politely to set this in correlation to the death and to the behavior of Bruce Lee in the last months. Shaolin commandment number 13. So the Brotherhood is binding somebody with the commandment number 13, a martial artist, or let's just put it this way. Tell me now the Freemason Warner Brothers number 13 commandment, and the response of Bruce Lee is, Bruce Lee has to take responsibility for himself and accept the consequences of his own doing. Maybe you find that far-fetched. I don't think that is a coincidence that they're coming up with the number 13 here. Because, look at this. As Dr. Lucette, forensic, placed his signature on Lee's autopsy, nothing seemed out of the ordinary except one thing. Although Lucette had noted an absence of any skull injuries, Lee's brain was swollen like a sponge and weighed 1575 grams compared with the normal 1400 grams. Because the blood vessels of the brain were intact and were unblocked, Lucette concluded that Lee had not died of cerebral stroke or brain hemorrhage. As to the fatal brain edema, this could have occurred in a matter of minutes or over an entire day. In this case, it was Dr. Lucette's opinion that it developed very rapidly. Although there were no apparent outward wounds, Lee's brain had significantly enlarged, going from 1400 to 1575, a 13% increase according to post-mortem records. If you divide 1575 through 1400, it is 12.5%. So why they're coming up with 13? Of course, it's just a number. Huh? It's just 13%. 13 parts of Osiris. But must be a coincidence then, huh?
13 is a Kabbalistic. The real name of Ignatius Loyola escapes me at the moment, but did you know that Ignatius of Loyola, the original Jesuit general, the founder of the whole entire Jesuitical principle, that man was the 13th son,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
the youngest son
Mm-hmm.
of that family.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was
No, I didn't
really
know that.
interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's in the Encyclopedia Britannica,
Mm-hmm.
11th edition, by the way, if you look up Ignatius of Loyola.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just playing with the numbers here. 1575 is 18 altogether. 14 is the number of parts of Osiris. 13 is the parts missing. Their veneration of Osiris here, so 13% once again. Yeah, like the number 13 Shaolin commandment. So the martial artist, like Bruce Lee, has to take responsibility for himself and accept the consequences of his own doing. And maybe fatal consequences of his own doing. Yeah, so there is a Masonic... There's a Masonic number 13, also on the dollar sign. 30 branches of olive, 13 arrows, 13 stars upon the eagle's head. We know that America has been founded by the Jesuits through the mocking or through the cover of Freemasonry. Yeah, so you got 13 of everything, 13 arrows, 13 stars, 13 stars and stripes on your flag symbol. 13 means rebirth, regeneration of death. Some say exoteric is the 13 colonies of the United States. 13 also is the path of Ra, so an Egyptian god. The center square of the 5x5 Mars square, Mars, you see, martial arts, also 13. They placed the house of Mars on top of the house of Ishtar, 13. Betty Ting Pei lived in 67 Beacon Hill Road. 6 plus 7 is 13. Yeah, and Bruce Lee's brain also had a 13% increase, but must all be a coincidence then, no? And Brett told us that 13 could also be the number of Ignatius of Loyola, a Spanish nobleman, so not a decent milkman or what else. Looking at that movie, Enter the Dragon, we see there are certain people here lined up, all these actors here. Remember, it's a Freemason movie. He's acting like a James Bond, like a China James Bond. You remember that letter from Bruce Lee certain sessions ago? And this is his instructor, showing us a picture of Han and the secret island doing drugs and all the stuff. The conversation goes like, this was a stewardess, Mary King. I said, yeah, well, very fitting. Mary is the king of the Roman Catholic Church, so to speak. Yeah, so they worship Mary. Rosicrucians worship Mary. Jesuits worship Mary. So, Mary King. Great. Mariah. Found floating in the harbor. Nothing unusual about the body in the harbor, but this girl was last seen at a party aboard Hans' private junk. They reported her lost at sea before the body was found. We believe he selects attractive girls, methodically builds their dependence on drugs, and that would be very fitting because maybe that happened also to Mr. Bruce Lee. And then sells them to an elite clientele around the world. What did the autopsy reveal as the cause of death? Answer, she did not drown. She OD'd, so she overdosed. Yes, cause of death was heroin overdose. And I said, not again. Yeah, Hong Kong, fragrant harbor, drugs. Now we have not marijuana or cocaine. Yeah, now we have heroin. Want to be a hero. So this is from that movie, Mary King, heroin overdose. This is from another movie of David Lynch called Twin Peaks. A special FBI agent Dale Cooper, who's always talking to his Diane, not Dianetics, but close to this, to an recording device. And this is Laura Palmer, who died of being humiliated and putting on drugs. This is cocaine and that stuff of Twin Peaks. On a river shore, of course. Now we're coming to the next scene on the boat from his sidekicks from Roper and Williams meet. Would you have to have one part?
Sure.
Okay.
Hey, soldier, shape it up. Roper, hey, how are you? Man. Okay, you're 185, right?
Man. You only said, hey, how are you? But you missed out man. But okay, that's what I was waiting for. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Let's do it again.
Right.
Let's do it again.
All right, start again.
Yeah.
Hey, soldier, shape it up, Roper. Hey, how are you, man?
How am I, man? How am I? I'm glad to see you. That's how I am.
Hey, how long has it been? 5, 6 years, man?
6. It's not as long as it seems.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
What you have been doing since Nam. And then we stop this conversation. Yeah. What you been doing since Nam? Nam, of course, it's Vietnam. And the answer of Williams is?
Hanging in a bit.
Yeah, I thought, okay.
Hanging in a little bit.
Hanging in a little bit. I said, okay, hanging man. And I was reminded of Jonathan Briley again, of the orange t-shirt. But okay, they could not know that in 1973. Okay. So, Nam means Vietnam, means Agent Orange. It's a chemical herbicide and defoliant, one of the tactical use rainbow, my herbicides, used by the US military, caused major health problems for many individuals who were exposed and their offspring. The government of Vietnam says that up to 4 million people in Vietnam were exposed to the defoliant. As many as 3 million people have suffered illness because of Agent Orange. While the Vietnamese Red Cross, this is the civil department of the Sovereign Military Knight of Malta, Red Cross, estimates that up to 1 million people were disabled or have health problems as a result of exposure to Agent Orange. The United States government has described these figures as unreliable while documenting cases of leukemia, Hodgkin's lymphoma, and various kinds of cancer in exposed US military veterans. An epidemiological study done by the Centers for Disease Control, CDC, and Prevention showed that there was an increase in the rate of birth defects of the children of military personnel as a result of Agent Orange. Can you imagine? So they did not only affect and fight the enemy, but that also affect their own United States Army personnel. Can you imagine? This is your government. TCDD is the most toxic of the dioxins and classified as a human carcinogen by the US Environmental Protection Agency, EPA. Yeah, it's not funny. This is a map showing where it has all been sprayed. It reminds me a little bit like the professional variant of DDT is good for me. That was also something happened in the United States. The US delegation argued that the weapon by definition is any device used to injure, defeat, or destroy living beings, structured or systemed. Agent Orange did not qualify under that definition. Can you imagine? You have intoxicated millions of people and you get away with that. Can you imagine?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, all these stacks here of these drums containing most likely Agent Orange. They've been sprayed all over again. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Is this also war on terror, or what is it? Can you imagine? These are not the pictures you usually see on the American broadcast television series, I think. US veterans. United States disinformation propaganda poster in Vietnamese describing how safe Agent Orange is intended to refute the communist propaganda. It is safe and effective. Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
I think I have mistaken. I have mistaken that with
We've
another.
heard this before.
Yeah. Can you imagine? This is just from
Safe and
Wikipedia.
effective.
And even this is just Wikipedia. You see, I think that the reality is much more worse.
Right. Of
Why
course
in-
it is.
While in Vietnam, US allied soldiers were told not to worry about Agent Orange and were persuaded the chemical was harmless. I know that. When do we know that from? DDT, for example, or any other?
Persuaded, Michael. Yeah, they were persuaded
Oh,
the chemical was harmless.
Sorry,
After
yeah.
returning home, Vietnam veterans began to suspect their ill health and the instances of their wives having miscarriages or children born with birth defects. And also, they're not mentioning children born with health problems that might be minor, might be related to Agent Orange and other toxic herbicides to which they had been exposed in Vietnam.
Mhm.
Yeah, Michael, this
Thanks.
is really serious. I worked with a client up here north of the Twin Cities, near where I live. About, I think it was around 2009, and their daughter had been having health problems because her dad was involved in Vietnam and with Agent Orange. So yeah, it's a reality for sure.
Yeah, and then you think that your government is only doing the best for your health? Can you imagine? They send people to die there for a political agenda, and we know that it's a religious war in Vietnam, thousands of miles away.
Yep.
And then they spray your own people with pesticides. Come on, it's unbelievable. But this is 50 years ago.
When you take the Bible for word, and when it says that the woman is riding the beast, that means that we have a religious hierarchy that is riding the political system, the so-called rulers of this world. So these rulers really work for the whore, and the whore is dictating the whole agenda. And who is the whore, my dear friends? Da, da, da. It's the whole Roman system that we live in today. They don't call it Roman anymore, though, Michael. They don't even call it Roman anymore.
Why did we go? The shocking story of the Catholic Church role in starting the Vietnam War. By Knight of Malta, Abram Manhattan. Where do we find that picture? There you go. Sharon Tate wet t-shirt with a Vietnam star. It's all propaganda. You don't think why you have been sent to Vietnam and you have to crawl in the dirt and you have been shot or what else. You think of that topless Sharon Tate with the Vietnam star here, huh? As the archer. My, really. That's this world. People do not want to see the truth because I think the truth is too scary. Yeah, they go to the cinema and I said, oh, boy, that was Rosemary's Baby. That was awful, but luckily this was only a movie. But the real horror is imminent everywhere. Everywhere. Made by the same people who killed Kennedy.
Right.
And the same people who used Sharon Tate. And that was one of the reasons why I said, okay, let's do this, because you see that now everything is connected. Bam, 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 bam. It lines up. Even in the Bruce Lee movie of 1973. And there are many, many, many references to the Vietnam War. For example, Magnum, Private Investigator by Tom Selleck. They are constantly referring to their time of their guys in Vietnam. Constantly. Many 70s, 80s series are referring to this. My. What a world. What a world. And then you think that your government is just only doing the best for your health, huh? Or it's safe and efficient. Yeah, sure. Like DDT is good for me. Oh, let's have it. Really, I'm so sad for also the American people. DDT is good for me. But of course, they don't rehearse that in the television nowadays, huh? That your children, it's so safe you can eat it, 1947. And all of a sudden, a few years later, you then realize, oh, sorry, we are a little bit wrong.
The Africans at first were not very impressed. Some are afraid that the DDT
Yeah, you can eat it.
fails to convince
It's so safe, you can eat it. Sorry, I just missed it.
spoonfuls of the mixture to show that the contaminated food is harmless.
Maybe he's just eating sugar, I do not know.
Even this fails to convince the audience.
DDT is good for me song, I do not know. I need that. DDT spraying on children, yeah. Here comes the spray
The
man.
balance of nature is built of a series of interrelationships
And
between living things and between living things and their
I can assure you, this is not known in Germany. 99.9% of the people are not aware of that in Germany. It's been told and taught nowhere. Nowhere. If we would not have YouTube and American Friends and all this stuff, we would be not aware of that stuff. Oh, my. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, we saw he died, stated during a visit to Hanoi in October 2010 that the US government would begin work of the cleanup of dioxin contamination at the Da Nang Air Base. Sure, 40 years later, huh? Really, eh? On November the 24th, 1961, Secretary of State Dean Rusk advised President John F. Kennedy that herbicide use in Vietnam would be lawful, saying that the use of defoliant does not violate any rule of international law concerning the conduct of chemical warfare and is an accepted tactic of war. Precedent has been established by the British during the emergency in Malaysia in the use of helicopters for destroying crops by chemical spraying. Of course. War is profitable. War is profit. It's more profitable as peace. So come on, let's get rid of this. Yeah, it's really disgusting how many toxic things there are they produce to kill people. It's always about killing.
Mm-hmm.
All that they hate me, love death, says the Bible.
Right. Yeah. So why would we need an entire industry to make movies about death and people so willing to consume it? It's just so absurd when you really think about it.
You got enough death and enough horror in your backyard.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Now you see here with your 13 stars and stripes on the Veterans Day in memory of our heroes or heroine victims, I do not know, honoring all who served Veterans Day on the 11th of November. I said, oh, another 11. My 11. Come on. You must be obsessed with the 11th in the United States, huh?
Well, they force it down your throat, Michael, whether you want it or not.
So, coming back to Enter the Dragon with Williams and Roper on the boat, this is just the backstory of Williams being in a karate school here with a snake symbol, Kenpo Karate. And then they have finally met on the boat. And this is just the dialogue which both of us have played before. Once again, back to Bruce Lee on this Enter the Dragon stuff. Yeah, you see him here with some, most likely these are just some fruits. I do not know. I don't think these are oranges. I think these are apples.
Looks like apples.
Apples.
Or pears.
Yeah, also. Yeah, and these most likely are apples. Okay, these are
Correct.
apples. Can we agree on the fact? Huh?
Yep.
So this is a scene here in Enter the Dragon. An apple. Somebody catches the apple. and then with a dart in it. And now she, who plays another Secret Service agent in disguise here, she smashes the dart into the apple, which then has been captured by Bruce Lee. Does that remind you of Way of the Dragon or Kato with his darts? But it's clearly an apple. Absolutely no doubt about it that it is an apple. It's very interesting because if it is an apple, and we see an apple also, or apples at the funeral, Bruce Lee funeral, July 31st, 1973, so in United States. If that is correct here, but we at least see apples. There is a phrase called apples and oranges, used with reference to two things that are fundamentally different and therefore not suited to comparison. And you can imagine why I'm coming up with this, maybe. This is an apple in the Chinese Sage info symbols flower and fruit. The combination of apple and magnolia together gives the phrase be wealthy and honored. Apples prefer a cooler, moister climate that is generally found in China, so apples used to be imported from Korea and Japan, making them an exotic luxury. Okay, so apple is a very precious fruit to be seen in the United States, not in China, United States of China. So, fruity symbolism. Apples symbolize safety and peace in China because Chinese word for apple, pingu, shares the same sound as the word for safety, ping'an. Chinese have to hope a new year of troubles and turbulence by having apples at her home. And so apples are some symbol of peace, love, and respect. What else? So, oranges are grown in southern China, a popular present for children, symbolizes for wish to have good fortune. Orange peel is considered an effective medicine. But the comparison of apples and oranges occurs when two groups of items are compared that cannot be practically compared because of inherent fundamentally and qualitative differences between the items. Look at this. In Chinese, a similar phrase is horses and cattle won't mate with each other. Oranges, huh? A second study written by Stanford Hospital Surgeon-in-Chief James Barron and published in the British Medical Journal noted that the phrase apples and oranges was appearing with increasing frequency in the medical literature, with some notable articles comparing desflurane and propofol and salmeritol and ipratropium with apples and oranges. Very interesting. Propofol. Well, can you imagine where it has been used for? Propofol. Decreasing levels of consciousness and a lack of memory for events. And that also what happened to Bruce Lee, obviously, because he could not remember things that he said in the last weeks. Propofol. Interesting. Apples and oranges, medically. No, just a minor remark here. Yeah, see umbrella term. Oh, okay. And now,
Yeah, that movie with Parsons. Yeah.
Yeah. That is Mr. Parsons from New Zealand. Now all hell will break loose.
Yeah.
That's line number 193. Can you add up the numbers? 1 plus 9 plus 3 is?
13.
Yeah, sure. 1594, Parsons founds Institute in St. Omer. Acosta describes the New World America. Valiano established St. Paul College, first school in Macau, China, to prepare missionaries to travel east, first printing press, etc. So there is a certain Robert Pearsons, later known as Robert Parsons, an English Jesuit priest. Remember that during the time of Enter the Dragon, Hong Kong was occupied by the British. So Robert Pearson was also a major figure in establishing the 16th century English mission of the Society of Jesus. But that's not all. because you see that 1594 was the same year that Valignano established St. Paul College, the first school in Macau, China, when now the Bruce Lee Paradise has been established there. He traveled overseas to become a Jesuit priest at St. Paul's, Rome on 3rd July, but he did not make it to England. Okay, but he was in Rome. Okay. Not so much interesting. Jesuits would take on Robert Crowley, interesting name. To the Armada, he was affiliated to the Spanish Armada. He was sent to Spain. He has written some books. But that's just only the first hint. That's not the big hint. The big hint comes soon. So, second try. Parsons. So, Jim Kelly or Williams asked Roper, "Hey, do you know that guy?" "Oh, Parsons, yeah, from New Zealand." Maybe you smell something, I don't know. The actor, or my remembrance is that Bruce Lee saw the actor called Peter Archer during a karate tournament somewhere in Asia. And he liked him and I said, "Okay, do you want to star in my next movie?" And of course he said, "Yeah." Peter Archer plays Parsons. An arrogant New Zealand martial artist. Okay. Remember, Archer is the sign of Sagittarius, which is 5 degrees Sagittarius, the Golden Gate, close to the San Francisco Golden Gate, and 5 degrees Sagittarius, or Archer, is the position of the sun at the birth. We have talked about that in session 3. So that guy is... in real life, the name is Archer. How fitting. And this guy, who resembles Sagittarius and therefore the Golden Gate, which is the sun sign, the European astrology of Mr. Zodiac sign of the son of Mr. Bruce Lee, he is trying to imitate the fictional character called Parsons, an arrogant New Zealand martial artist. Once again, Archer means Sagittarius, means Golden Gate, means sun position Bruce Lee, 5 degrees. There you got it. In Sagittarius, the Archer. This is German, I apologize, but we have talked about this. Parsons, Peter Archer as Parsons, is a direct reference, in my humble opinion, to Jack Parsons of Orange Grove. Jack Parsons and Peter Archer at Parsons. And Parsons is John Marvel. You see the Marvel orange tree. John Marvel Whiteside Jack Parsons was a follower of Aleister Crowley, Thelema religion, head of the Ordo Templi Orientis Agape Lodge in California, trained to play an Antichrist figure, the archetype of Horus. He was a rocket scientist who created Jet Propulsion Laboratories, or Jack Parsons Laboratories, which became the organization of NASA. The rocket is the phallus, the masculine mass energy, and friends with L. Ron Hubbard, who founded the Church of Scientology, like Tom Cruise or John Travolta, who had in the background of Saturday Night Fever the poster of Enter the Dragon, and like Tom Cruise with Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible is just a ripoff of the original television series of the 1960s, and that was, by incident, the most favorite training music of Bruce Lee. That was from Mission Impossible. So much so that this movie music, or this television series of Mission Impossible, has been composed and produced by Lalo Schifrin, and therefore Bruce Lee was asking Lalo Schifrin to do the music score in Enter the Dragon, which he finally did. But it must all be a coincidence. Therefore, you have the reference of the Church of Scientology in John Travolta, and you have the poster of Enter the Dragon in the background of Saturday Night Fever. Of course, it's all a big coincidence. Mission Impossible was a television series of 66 to March 73, so very close to the time that Bruce Lee was in the United States and afterwards in Hong Kong. So he knew that series, and I can tell you from different and several biographies that it was his favorite training music. I can't whistle it now. Okay. Yeah. So the theme music was one of Bruce Lee's favorite training music, which had been composed. I'm too nervous. The theme music was one of Bruce Lee's favorite training music, which had been composed by Lalo Schifrin. Theme music composer Lalo Schifrin. Opening theme Mission Impossible. Guess what else? Enter the Dragon. Music Lalo Schifrin. Remember? Remember. Remember. John Travolta, member of Scientology cult of Ron Hubbard, who performed the Babylon workings, so satanic invocations of Aleister Crowley with John, Jack, or Marvel Whiteside Parsons. And he's not a New Zealand martial artist in that. My. Interesting enough, he was affiliated with other people like Priscilla Presley, or other people also on the Scientology cult. For example, Lisa Marie Presley, Priscilla Presley, or Vivian Kubrick, a filmmaker and the daughter of Stanley Kubrick. We have really a small world everywhere. Scientology is a cult of Lafayette Ron Hubbard, a friend, not directly, a companion of Jack Parsons' OTO of trauma-based mind control perfected by the CIA in the 50s. Yeah, there you go, and there you got it. It's all connected. Secret services, secret society, it's all the same. Do you think that it's a coincidence that you got all the sun rays here? Do you really think that's a coincidence? Or the lyricist for the Grateful Dead coming from Scientology, Robert Hunter? Well, must be a coincidence. Huh? So Scientology has something to do with the CIA? Must be a coincidence then. Huh? And Charles Manson also identified as a Scientologist during his time in prison. He ordered Manson family member Bruce Davis to journey to the United Kingdom and work for the Scientology organization in London. But must be a coincidence. And maybe there's also another lie been from your government. I don't know. And I don't care because I know they are all connected. Back to Marvel Jack Parsons. I have colored this picture because originally I found this picture only in black and white, and I find it more lively, more authentic to have these pictures in a kind of a color. So this is Jack Parsons with this scarlet woman, Marjorie, who then starred in Kenneth Anger, who made that Lucifer Rising movie a few years before inauguration of the Pleasure Dome, which is a phallus. And you don't want to know these people in private, I think. His birth name is Marvel. Marvel means a miracle. From Latin mirabilia, wonderful things. From noun use of neuter plural of mirabilis, wonderful, marvelous, extraordinary. I don't think that they chose this name by accident. I think there is something with that family that he was originated from. But I have not looked it up because some things are really hard to and very time consuming. But nevertheless, these are the origins of your National Aeronautics and Space Administration with their Jesuit missions being handed out by Freemasons in orange suits and with Freemason Buzz Aldrin. This is Jack Parsons and Ed Foreman and Frank Molina from NASA and Jet Propulsion Laboratory. And they have a nickname called the Suicide Squad because they were always busy with explosions. And the original cause of death of Jack Parsons is an explosion. So, NASA, all occult, all of Satanists, have nothing to do with truth. It's just a big BS. Yeah, they just start a rocket and nobody knows if there are some people on board. They tell you, some people died and some people made it, and some people then are just coming back in a capsule or just coming back on a parachute, what else, and just landing in somewhere in the sea, been picked up by a helicopter. Come on, you see, these are all just fairy tales for adults who have not read the Bible and are not in the real spirit. First trip to the moon was already made by the Jesuits. We have talked about that. NASA is like the Jesuits, a military organization. It's part of the United States Army. like the father of Sharon Tate, like the father of Wendy Wagner, like the father of Jim Morrison. Name anybody. Satanist Jack Parsons, who performed sex magic rituals to create a moonchild, so magic child, the Babylon workings described in Crowley's Moonchild. And you don't have to believe Brett or me. You don't have to believe us. The Ministry of Truth, yeah? Then you type in Jack Parsons. They even are admitting it. Yeah, they even are admitting it if you then switch to the English version, of course, or you don't have to do that if you're coming from America. Yeah, and then you see he joined the Agape Lodge, the Californian branch of OTO, in 1941. I just copy-paste that sentence here so that nobody is fooling you.
So you got to go to the German version to see this.
Yeah, it's more obvious
Not
in the
in
German
English.
version, yeah.
Interesting.
Jack Parsons, beside his scientific work, was a follower of the occult teachings of Aleister Crowley, MI6, Secret Service, and practiced his magic. He saw no contradiction in it and performed the invocation of the god Pan before every rocket launch.
Man. Really?
Yeah, Pan is the horn god who is a satire, who is just lusting for other people to rape and to have sex with and all the stuff. You see that the Night of Pan, hymn to Pan and all the stuff. You see that. How to start? How to start? Yeah? How to start? Goat of thy flock, I am God, I am gold, flesh to the bones. Through solstice, stubborn to equinox. Yeah, you see, has something to do with the sky, I think, huh? Come on. You see, this is really the word, if you are really looking behind the curtain. This is really a word you don't want to... you want to separate yourself from the world. Yeah, amazing photographs, lunar lander, yeah, aluminium foil, yeah. We are not the people who are just wearing tinfoil hats. These are the people who are using gold tinfoils or gold foils on their cement inside somewhere a factory on July the 20th. Parsons has been given a crater on the better far side of the moon, sure. My, you can't fool the people. But you see, these people are in the majority, and that's the problem. So we never have right in this. We never get correct answer of any question. Apollo 11. Apollo is a Greek and Roman god of music, healing, light, prophecy, and enlightenment. Yeah, you see, what is the tranquility base that was the landing site? Enlightenment. So that's the part. The people that say, oh wow, now we're in 1969, we can even go to the moon. How other possibilities? I can have an artificial arm. I can have this. I can have a self-driving car like Kid Knight Rider. And what else? It's all about the self. Yeah, so you have a female object, a rocket, penetrating the moon surface. Patch, you penetrate the moon as you have your moon child. Moon child. That's all about Luna. It's the goddess of the moon. The moon child. To create a moon child. Aleister Crowley's ritual is about the Babylon working of Jack Parsons is about to create a moon child. So what better purpose to send a rocket onto the moon surface, or at least make people believe? It's not about the actual ritual, it's about that I think at least the majority of people believe it happened. Or at least they don't care. They don't care. People say that I could care less. It must be true, it came on the television. Yeah, so the crater is the moonchild, the fruit of male and female. That was my 2 cents in it. It's this black and white picture. So, Mr. Parsons and Peter Archer played Parsons in The Enter the Dragon. The real Jack Parsons was raised on Orange Grove Boulevard in Pasadena, the Millionaire's Mile, MM33 Orange 333 Sodomy. Pasadena was the home of the Luciferian Theosophical Society in California, Adolphus Bush, and Lamont Vanderberg from Standard Oil. Hello, Mr. Rockefeller. He was educated at Pasadena City College like Charles Manson, Eddie Van Halen, RFK's assassin Sirhan. Mickey Mouse Club member, MM, all the stuff. Yeah, and he was a member of fraternity Sigma Chi, founded at Cornell like Albert Einstein with his Masonic handshake. It's all a lie. theory of relativity is not from Albert Einstein, is false. Everybody can prove that in 30 seconds. It's all about to get rid of the ether and to get rid of an absolute God, to make everything relative in your view. Yeah, so even time and space, everything is relative because it's just your point of view. Yeah, that's, I think, is the secret behind the theory of relativity. So this Jack Parsons, Freemason and all the stuff, and Satanist, he founded Aerojet Corporation AC, like Antichrist, with Caltech. He was part of the Suicide Squad SS, reciting Crowley's hymn to Pan before rocket test at Arroyo Seco. The Devil's Gate passes the Rose Bowl Stadium in Pasadena. But that must be a coincidence. And I have also colored this picture because that's what Jack Parsons all is about, is destruction. This is the place where they did these rocket tests. This is the Arroyo Seco, the Devil's Gate. Any questions? It's not me who have come up with this or with the names. Parsons, also the name of Alan Parsons Abbey Road with the Freemason stuff. Pink Floyd also been Freemasons, some related to, I can't recall, I think their manager. Alan Parsons, sound engineer on Beatles, Freemason, on Abbey Road with the Freemason obelisk. Is also Order of the British Empire, officer of the Order of the British Empire, English sound engineer. They have projects like Red Road Speedway of Paul McCartney. Currently, he's residing in Santa Barbara, California. But back to Jack Parsons now. Parsons led the Agape Lodge from 1942 from his house at Orange Grove. And he did these Babylon workings with the Scientology founder Ron Hubbard, affiliated with CIA in 1946 in Mojave Desert, trying to summon entities and open a dimensional portal like CERN in Switzerland through masturbation, anal sex with Enochian system of John Dee, which has been used by secret societies, not only secret societies, but secret services, secret agencies, to create a magical child as described in Crowley novel Moonchild. And you really believe that the people went to the moon? With music of Prokofiev, known for the love of three oranges, Opus 33, Orange 33 Sodomy. Do you know why irregular intercourse is satanic? Because if they have irregular intercourse, it cannot lead to a fruit, it cannot lead to a child. So it avoids any offspring, and this is just as you would, it's just destruction. Yeah, it's just only your pleasure. This word is so rotten. It's to the core. It's to the core. Babylon Workings, 1946. Where do you want to start? Yeah. Also, his name allegedly is John Whiteside Marvel Parsons. He's been called Jack. It's the same as in John F. Kennedy, also called Jack. And Jack Kennedy has been shot by Jack Ruby, but you see where to start. Batman series had shot near the Rose Bowl, by the way, and Rosemary's Baby, you see that we are always in the path of Freemasons, also in the case of strange case of the so-called strange angel Jack Parsons. Create a moonchild. The moon crater was named after Jack Parsons, sure. Stanley Kubrick, The Shining, released on 10th of February, birthday of Parsons, 42 references, number of Rainbow Wizard of Oz programming. These are all these codes. All these codes. Back to the Future 2 as Hankman, like Parsons. So, strange angel, like Jack Parsons. But we will come back soon, of course, to at least Enter the Dragon. By the way, Donnie Yen, which is the actor of Yip Man, he donated 1 million Hong Kong dollars to the medical workers in Wuhan, China. And you know, I think that he's also in the system. Line 192. Come here. Ah, Parsons. Yeah, from New Zealand. Remember? There's a B missing. Jay Searing assisted with launching the film career of Bruce Lee after meeting him at the National Karate Championships in Long Beach in 1964. He introduced Lee to his producer friend Bill Dozier, who started Lee's career with the Green Hornet. A character based on himself called Mr. Oceanbrink. Phonetically, Seabrink, Oceanbrink. Why do I state this? It's quite easy, because it has been stated that Mr. Parsons comes from New Zealand. Yeah? So maybe that's also a hint to J. Sebring. Sealand, Sebring. I do not know. It's just a lucky guess, maybe. Sebring, Oceanbrink, New Zealand. Yeah, you should at least type it correctly. So, this is the dialogue. Goes further. They have just a bet about 2 grasshoppers or so. And then Mr. Parsons, the arrogant martial artist coming from New Zealand, is trying to intimidate Mr. Lee. He said, "Do I bother you?" And Bruce Lee says, "Don't waste yourself." And Parsons asks, "What's your style?" And Lee says, "My style? You can call it the art of fighting without fighting." Yeah, sure. The art of fighting without fighting? Show me some it later. No. We have to start from the start. So this is here another strange so-called coincidence. Mr. Peter Archer, Sagittarius, Golden Gate, is just kicking a bag of groceries on that ship. And if you then don't get it, that the reference is clearly to Jack Parsons in Orange Grove, then I can't help you. Yeah, you see? Orange Grove, Jack Parsons. Yeah? Jack Parsons raised on Orange Grove Boulevard. And what did we learn from The Godfather? Every time when an orange pops up, it's a sign of doom. And orange is a symbol for 33-degree Freemason. So, who is 33-degree Freemason who is involved in the Enter the Dragon movie? Jack Warner. So what does it mean when Mr. Peter Archer as Parsons is kicking the oranges there on the ship where Bruce Lee is? Let's look it up. What happens next?
Don't waste yourself.
What's your style?
My style? You can call it the art of fighting without fighting.
The art of fighting without fighting? Show me some of it.
Later. All right? Don't you think we need more room?
Where else?
That island, on a beach. We can take this boat?
Okay. Hey, what the hell are you doing? Hey, are you crazy? Pull me in. Pull me in.
Don't try to pull yourself up,
Get me out of
or
this
I'll let go the line.
What's the matter with you kids? Come on, pull. Go help me when I get
So, that was the excerpt here, and I just realized something else, which is hard to see. If that is a number, is 602111. If that is correct, it's 8 plus 3 is another 11. But that would just be incorrect to insist on that, because I can't see that so clearly.
Hey, what the hell are you doing? Hey, are you crazy? Pull me in. Pull me in.
Yeah, that could also be a 1, I do not know, or just a letter. It's hard to say. Okay, but that's the content of it. So let's try to make something out of it. The art of fighting without fighting can only resemble to Sun Tzu, which we have talked about in the second session called Martial Arts. A character who most likely never existed, who was first being translated in Europe by a French Jesuit. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Can you imagine that we talked about last session, Brett, about this Mars character, this coin of Mars, who is just Mars the Peacebringer, not because he's peaceful, but because he's subduing his enemies. So that would be another tactic of Mars. Yeah, so it's clearly referring to Sun Tzu, which means it's clearly referring to a Jesuit tactic. And you have to remember that Bruce Lee has been Jesuitically trained. And you have to remember that Jay Sebring also is Jesuitically trained and all the stuff. So let's sum it up here. He's kicking oranges. Peter Archer as Parsons from New Zealand is kicking oranges. Yeah. So something worse is to expected on this ship with this martial artist. So on this ship of this martial artist, there are only martial artists who are going to an island which has been known to have a drug trade, drug laboratorium, all the stuff. So maybe it has something to do with drugs. Also, it has something to do with martial arts. If Mr. Parsons, as most likely the equivalent to Jack Parsons in Orange Grove, is kicking the bags of oranges, that means something is bad is happening in a movie. Think of the movie The Godfather. And it could also mean that if Mr. Parsons is played by Mr. Archer, that somebody is trying to kick the Freemasons in the butt, so to speak, so that they want to handle their matters on their own. So that would be one interpretation, but it clearly is a resemblance to Freemasonry with an archer and with Mr. Parsons and the oranges all around. So that is clearly a sign for 33 degrees. So that means that we have a Freemason influence in that movie here already. And of course, that is just very obvious, because it is just a movie by Warner Brothers. Yeah, so this was just from session 107. Sun Tzu was a Chinese military general. Nobody knows where he lived in the period about 770 and 250 BCE or BC Christ. Master Sun, yeah, so the sun symbol, Jesuits. And in that book of Rulers of Evil here, we learn 13 articles concerning military art, that it was first Father Amiot, Sun Tzu in 1772, which has been then translated a Jesuit, knowing the Jesuit missions. And Jesuit trained Bruce Lee, of course, is expected to have known of Sun Tzu. A Jesuit missionary, Father Amiot, first brought the art of war to the West, translating it into French in 1782. And I could really bet if I may, that the millions and millions of people who have watched Enter the Dragon, they all know that scene, and nobody takes the road to Freemasonry and Jesuits with that. And just a few of them. And the Jesuits say, "See, from my Lord, from this room I govern not only Paris but China, not only China but the whole world, without anyone knowing how it is managed." The art of war, or the art of martial arts. Yeah, this is coming from that book, Rulers of Evil. Remember, the use of symbolism in movies is often construed or constructed actually for various reasons, either for foreshadowing or subconsciously planting a specific emotions into the audience's minds. One of the most famously used symbolism is that of the orange fruit, best known as the harbinger of doom in the classic Francis Ford Coppola crime epic The Godfather. And what happened to Mr. Bruce Lee? You can assume, at least, that during the production of Enter the Dragon, or during the writing of the script, that also was an indication that if Bruce Lee would not cooperate, he would be doomed. And it's you to then draw your own conclusions. Because orange and 33 is always something bad, because it's the highest rank in Freemasonry, at least in the Scottish Rite. And that means it has something to do with somebody who's worshipping Lucifer - Satan instead of a real God. And that means do what thou wilt must be the whole of the law, like Aleister Crowley said. And therefore also even God's banker was dangling from an orange nylon rope under London's Blackfriars Bridge in the beginning of 1980s. And if you know that he had some stones in his pockets and he was hanging on an orange nylon rope, you clearly know that it was a Freemason attack on his life. 1982, June the 18th. God's banker. Yeah? So if God's banker is not protected, what do you make up of it for Bruce Lee? Yeah. So they suspect Masons, British Secret Service, and that is the same line of suspects that I would draw in the case of Bruce Lee. Just by sheer symbolism, not by any testimony of some actors, directors, or what else. You see that all are actors and all can lie and all maybe are under threat or so. Yeah. Sonic Lodge propaganda Dewey. Looking it up here. There is something of value in it, but I think because in the Enter the Dragon movie there is Freemason symbolism and so much things to. Roper has been played by the character Roper has been played by John Saxon, who played Nancy Stant in The Nightmare of Elm Street. Remember Elm, the Druids? John F. Kennedy, Elm Street 22/11/33. Assassination John F. Kennedy happened on the 22nd of November. Here is another script, or here's another part of the script actually for Enter the Dragon. This portion of the script has been introduced to me by Brett, because he has watched that movie and he said, "Oh, look at Leah, do you see that resemblance here to Rome?" Because the villain Han said, "This is my museum." Or would you care to read it, Brett?
Yeah, okay, this is my museum. It is difficult to associate these horrors with the proud civilizations that created them. Sparta, Rome, the knights of Europe, the samurai, they worship strength because it is strength. That makes all other values possible. Nothing survives without it. Who knows what delicate wonders have died out of the world for want of the strength to survive.
So Rome has been mentioned here in that movie, and the Knights of Europe has been mentioned as well. The Knights of Europe must be the Knights Templars.
Sure.
So you got in that movie, Enter the Dragon, in the last finished movie of Bruce Lee, you got Freemasons with the oranges, Jesuits with Sun Tzu and the art of fighting without fighting. You got Rome and the Knights of Europe. You got everything in that movie. What a strange coincidence, huh? And then they're coming up with the guillotine, and that is about French Revolution, which had been officially disguised under the cover of Freemasonry, but was a Jesuit thing. Guillotine, a similar device on similar principles, had been used in the Middle Ages. My. Can you imagine? So that guillotine is also a reference to the French Revolution, and we don't have to come up with the conclusion who started the Jesuit Revolution. If you know that decades of years before, the Jesuit general said, "From this room, I govern China, and not China, but the entire world." And the entire world, let me assure you, includes France. So you got.
By the way, I'm reading right now from Rulers of Evil, chapter 11, where it starts in the middle of the page. It says the 13 articles. We'll start there.
I can enlarge it a bit.
Please do. Okay, I'm going to read about a page worth, okay? I just thought this was interesting to bring to the table right now. The 13 articles was ignored by Americans until the 1970s, when our corporate executives discovered that their Oriental counterparts were doing business according to Sun Tzuan strategies. As U.S. corporations increased their presence in the Pacific Rim, Sun Tzu became a major survival tool. Since the middle 80s, more than 50 editions of the articles have been published in this country, mostly under the Art of War title. These editions represent Sun Tzu well enough, but none of them are derived from the 1772 Amiot translation into French, which itself was based on Tatar Manchurian version of the older Chinese manuscripts. Amiot Sun Tzu appears never to have been published in English, although in a 1996 commission by La Belle Aiguise, produced by a very fine manuscript, English translation by Herman F. Garcia. That manuscript is the source of many citations, and many of my citations here. Only the Amiot edition reflects in virtually the Jesuit general's own words how he formed the United States of America by dividing the British Empire against itself, while at the same time dividing the rest of Europe against Britain, against even the general's own army. The Amiot is all the more remarkable for appearing in the very midst of the unfolding of this extraordinary process. Amiot begins the 13 articles by noting how old it is that the benign Chinese morality should spawn a warrior of Sun Tzu's magnitude. If we are to judge the Chinese by their morals, and in general by everything one can currently observe of them, we would instantly conclude that this must be the most pacifist nation in the world, far from having the brilliant qualities necessary for warriors. Yet, surprisingly, this very nation, which has sustained for nearly 4,000 years in approximately the same state we see it in today, has always or almost always triumphed over its enemies, and when it had the misfortune of being conquered, It gave its laws to the conquerors themselves. And we could go on and on and on. But it's an interesting study nonetheless.
Sun Tzu has been mentioned by Bruce Lee himself on that ship. And we see apples and oranges. We see apples from Han, from the villain, sent out to Bruce Lee. And we see somebody on the boat of Bruce Lee, an archer. And Bruce Lee's star sign would be Archer, Sagittarius, kicking a bag of oranges. So maybe it is also a sign of Bruce Lee is kicking the Freemason and said, I want to do my own stuff, because apples and oranges mean, okay, you don't get along. So I can't tell you, but I think that is big symbolism here in that case. Especially when they have mentioned all these Freemason oranges references, Parsons references, Archer references, Jesuit Sun Tzu fighting without fighting references, Rome references, Knights of Europe references, all in that one movie. It's called Game of Death for some reason, because that was the choice of Bruce Lee. He was always fascinated by death, it seems. Yeah, so that's a card 13 with Skeleton and the Harbinger and Saturn and all the stuff. Hugh O'Brien. Yeah, at the same time, O'Brien, you see that Irish name. Yeah. And coming back here to the circular disc or whatever that is in Game of Death. Yeah. Question, which Game of Death? Obviously Bruce Lee's Game of Death, and obviously he has lost it. At least he did not appear after Enter the Dragon. So what do you make out of it, of Enter the Dragon? It's just up to your interpretation. Maybe you got some clues of it, but I think that now you have much food for thought. And I hope that I could be of some help today with apples and oranges and Enter the Dragon, and I think that's also the best name of that session to come up with.
When thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before thee, and put a knife to thy throat. If thou be given if thou be a man given to appetite, be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful meat. Labor not to be rich, cease from thine own wisdom. Wilt thou set thine eyes upon that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings, they fly away as an eagle toward heaven. Eat thou not the bread of him that hath an evil eye, neither desirest thou his dainty meats. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, saith he to thee, but in his heart is not with thee. The morsel which thou hast eaten shalt thou vomit up, and loose thy sweet words. Speak not in the ears of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of thy words. Speak not in the ears of a fool, for he will despise wisdom of thy words. Remove not the old landmark, and enter not into the fields of the fatherless. For the Redeemer is mighty. He shall plead their cause with thee. Apply thine heart unto instruction, and thine ears unto the words of knowledge. Withhold not correction from a child. For if thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die. For thou shalt beat him with a rod, and shalt deliver his soul from hell. My son, if thine heart be wise, my heart shall rejoice, even mine. Yea, my reins shall rejoice when thy lips speak right things. Let not thy heart envy sinners, but thou be in the fear of the Lord all the day long. For surely there is an end, and thine expectation shall not be cut off. Hear thou, my son, and be wise, and guide thine heart in the way. Be not among wine-bibbers, among riotous eaters of flesh. For the drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty, and drowsiness shall clothe a man with rags. Hearken unto thy father, which begat thee, and despise not thy mother when she is old. Buy the truth and sell it not. Also wisdom, and instruction and understanding. The father of the righteous shall greatly rejoice, and he that begetteth a wise child shall have joy of him. Thy father and thy mother shall be glad, and and she that bare thee shall rejoice. My son, give me thine heart, and let thine eyes observe my ways. For a whore is a deep ditch, and a strange woman is a narrow pit. She also lieth in wait as for prey, and increaseth the transgressors among men. Who hath woe? Who hath sorrow? Who hath contentions? Who hath babbling? Who hath wounds without cause? Who hath redness of eyes? They that tarry long at the wine, that they go to seek mixed wine, look not upon the wine when it is red, when it giveth its color in the cup, when it moveth itself aright. At the last it biteth like a serpent, and stingeth like an adder. Thine eyes shall behold strange women, and thine heart shall utter perverse things. Yea, thou shalt be as he that lieth down in the midst of the sea, or as he lieth upon the top of a mast. They have stricken me, thou shalt say, and I was not sick. They have beaten me, and I felt it not. When shall I awake? I will seek it yet again. Thanks, Michael. I just thought that this would be a fitting end to our study today because it has to do with mankind and the fallen state that we live in now. And obviously, this is a reference to drunkenness in the spiritual context. So, again, I just want to encourage everyone to be sober, be diligent to study, and quick to pray and ask the Lord for guidance. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.